Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Small Business 101 here on Arbeit.
Yes, we got a great episode, right? You know how much I love the sales episodes. You usually refer to me for sales advice, but now we have an actual sales expert in here, jpearl from NACRE Consulting, who happens to be our sales consultant and growth consultant as well. Whew, Jason, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You know Spencer's excited when he claps really loud.
Yeah, that's how every one of my favorite episodes, it's so true, starts just with a big clap. So I guess tell us a little about yourself.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me again. So Jason Pearl, I'm the president of NACRE Consulting. A little bit about me, my background. Obviously, I'm a sales consultant, sales growth, marketing consultant. I am from a long line of entrepreneurs. So my parents were actually entrepreneurs before it was cool to be an entrepreneur. So I kind of grew up in that type of household where there was always business conversations melded in with like baseball practice and hockey practice and kind of all that type of stuff. But so from Buffalo area, born and raised, grew up in that environment. Both my parents are still self-employed entrepreneurs. One of my other siblings, my older brother, he is himself an entrepreneur. Jeez. And we're just working on my sister right now.
Yeah,
so
trying to get her to make a move.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So,
that's awesome.
So given my background, my parents actually sold their businesses when I was in college. So kind of pushed me down more of a corporate path. So worked in banking for the first 11, 12 years of my career, and then ran a small regional company for about 5 years, and then decided to kind of expand my wings and do my own thing so I could work with multiple different businesses, and started NACRE Consulting in early 2017.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you look for? Like, what are some warning signs, I guess, that you look for with trying to consult with someone?
What are warning signs?
Yeah. Like, how do you know someone could benefit from you?
Well, I think ultimately, I believe that outside eyes on a business is always beneficial, regardless of the type of business, regardless of the industry. Sometimes when you're a business owner, you're so focused and almost have your own tunnel vision of what your business has been and what you think it's going to be, that you may miss warning signs of what happens and what's maybe some business warning signs would be. So, I think that any business could use some type of outside eyes, whether it's consistent like the way we're engaged, or whether it's just, hey, come on in and sit with me for a day session and let's kind of talk about what's going on in our business. So, so I think anybody could use that type of help.
What's like your ideal customer look like?
So it's a really good question, because I think that it kind of morphs a little bit. I think an ideal client to begin with is knowing that first they want some type of outside opinion, right? That always, it's kind of like the softball for a consultant. It's like, please tell us what you think, right? So I think that's obviously ideal. Yeah. But for me personally, an ideal client is a business that has some type of established leadership group. Yeah. I work most effectively when there is leadership in place, as opposed to trying to be leadership, tactician, executor, kind of the whole thing. So I think ideally it doesn't have to be a full C-suite, but at least there's some defined roles within the leadership group, because I could work through those folks that way. Yeah. Kind of identify, who's going to be the decision maker, who's going to be the one that drops the axe when we want to do something. They say, absolutely not, we're not going to do that.
Oh yeah.
So.
Have you ever worked with like? Sorry, did you have?
Just interrupt. No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you ever not worked with somebody because you thought they weren't coachable or something?
That was going to be my question.
The same question. Actually, no, I have not. And I actually have thought a lot about this. I have had some challenging clients, but I think, I guess my life perspective is, I don't want to give up on anyone. I think everyone is coachable. They just need to be communicated in a way that understands that they need some coaching, right? I've been doing my business a little under 2 years, so I have not said no to a client because they're not coachable. I have said no because it's not the right fit. Maybe they think they need me, but they actually need something else. So I have said no before, but I really don't think anyone is uncoachable. I think there could be situations where when you're consulting with someone, you're like, all right, they're not getting it, right? Like, you're gonna now waste your money on me and we should just move on, and you'll feel better about it and I'll feel better about it. But I think everyone can be coachable.
Oh, good for you. I give up people way too easy. Like, not coachable.
We'll work on that, Spencer. That's one of the reasons we're engaged here, right? We're working with you. We're work in progress.
So what's like the most common mistake, I'll say, that you see like small, mid-sized businesses face?
Sure. I'm not going to say good question because I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to give me that. It goes to Emily if you like to answer these questions.
So I think one of the biggest issues that I see are leaders that have had success, and because they've had previous success in doing certain things a certain way, they are unwilling to adjust their strategy based on what market conditions and what the future is showing them. So I think that's where I run into the biggest roadblocks, right? Is, when you have had success in business, that doesn't give you a badge that you will continually always have success.
Yeah.
Market determines a lot of that, and being strategic and ahead of the market or going with the market is certainly helpful.
Yeah.
So where I see businesses struggle often is when there's an unwillingness to adapt.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, right? Like, especially if you're consulting for like a $15 million company or something, and they're like, listen, we got to $15 million without
Right.
you. Now
Right.
you're going to tell us to do something completely different.
Sure.
That creates, I think, a friction level.
It certainly does. And, I'm not Nostradamus either. It's not like I'm going to, always
Yeah.
be able to give like the most on-point advice in every industry every time. But I do think there is a lot to be said about having an outside set of fresh eyes on something. It's why couples go to marriage counseling, right?
Yeah.
It's why people have, psychiatrists, right? Everybody wants outside help.
Yeah.
Because it's a different perspective.
Yeah.
You get outside of your tunnel, your little hut that you're always in, and it helps you.
And it's a great if you self doubt a lot, right? Like if you're like constantly like, oh, I'm not good enough or whatever, to have someone like come in, it like adds, I think, that layer to
Sure.
it. So like I think everyone's kind of looking for someone to tell
Sure.
them yes or no.
Right.
Right.
So
And ultimately, some people are in leadership positions, even though they're in leadership positions and they should be decision makers.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, they want to have some type of validation of the decisions that are being made. So using an outside consultant
tough.
or organization helps.
yeah. So go ahead.
Do you see like for your clients that you work with, defining success for them? Like, is there a wide set of parameters, or is it pretty common across the board?
I actually think it's pretty wide, and one of the things that I do, I know in the sales and marketing and growth arena, there's a lot of folks that sell a method, right? And I'm not against that. I'm a process driven guy. Most people believe that that sales are just these extroverts that fly by the seat of their pants and all they want to do
I do
is
not
just
help with
have
that
fun and not
stereotype.
work and things of that nature. Well, that's why we're here. That's why
Yeah.
NACRE Consulting's engaged.
Do not
right?
help with that stereotype.
But I think ultimately, there's a lot of different parameters for success, and what it comes down to is understanding the individual leadership and what the business goals are. Some folks, some businesses, they're all about the bottom line. It's money, 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 money. Others are driving culture, right? Like where at Arbeit's, very culture-driven organization, right? So there's decisions sometimes that may be made that aren't always going to impact the bottom line positively, but that's what leadership is looking to drive for. So I believe in custom understanding and meeting with the team to understand what they're looking for and what they think success is, what their definition of success is, and then I can come and provide support services around
That's a great
it.
point, right? Because if I was coming in any company, I'd be like, bottom line, bottom line, bottom line. But Alex is a perfect example because he's culture driven.
Right.
So decisions he makes are not always bottom line decisions, they're more like, this is the best for the culture.
Sure.
So knowing that tends to help with your decision making. That's a good point.
Now, ultimately, though, revenue is the lifeblood of businesses.
Yeah.
Right?
Right,
So,
there's always
Yeah, you can't afford a culture with no
well,
revenue.
Yeah,
Correct.
there's the but.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to make sure that you're working in that, and that's why when I define success, I don't come in and tell companies what they need. I go through an interview process and try to understand what they're looking for, what they think success may be, and then I can help them adjust what success may look like, given all the things that they want to accomplish.
Yeah. Is there a piece of advice you would give that applies to like a business at any stage, size, market?
I think ultimately, I would say you need to be open to an outside perspective.
Yeah.
Again, I have worked with some awesome clients, and I've been blessed to be able to do that. And I think one of the reasons that I've worked with awesome clients is part of the way I pitch my business is customizing it to what they believe success is. So I think having the ability to know that that they want this, or they think this is important, or they think this is success, then I've had the ability to kind of adjust with that.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. What's the best part about being a consultant?
I would say the best part about being a consultant is working with multiple different businesses for a couple different reasons. When the way my business is set up is myself and the other folks that I work with inside my business, to have a broad view of multiple different companies and multiple different industries, it actually helps us execute with the clients that we're working with. Because I can say, in your industry, which is completely separate than this business that I work with, they're having this issue, and this is what we did to help that issue or create a solution to that. And I think that it's identifying the problem and creating the solution, right? And I think that working with multiple different businesses helps us with all of our clients. In addition to that, I think there is a flexibility that comes with being a consulting agency where your 9 to 5 isn't always 9 to 5. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways that you can impact. I really enjoy that. One of the things I always hated about my more traditional positions of employment, where it's just like you just have this box and you're always in the box.
Yeah.
And we live in a world now where there's a lot of outside the box thinkers, and there's more open schedules, and there's more kind of availability to be creative within business, and that's what I love about NACRE Consulting and being in the role that I'm in.
That's awesome.
Plus, I'm a father and a husband, and having flexibility, obviously,
I can only imagine. Yeah.
That's 2.0 for you, though.
Yeah, we're not that far along in the process.
We haven't gotten into life coaching yet. So.
Next up. Any other questions for Jason?
No. Where can people get in touch with you?
So you can find me on multiple different social media platforms. By the time this probably airs, nacreconsulting.com, NACRE consulting.com. We'll be live. LinkedIn, I'm super active on LinkedIn. Also have a Facebook page, I have an Instagram page. So whether it be social media or my website, that's where you can find me.
We'll link it all below.
Perfect.
Yeah, they'll find you some way. Thanks so much for doing this.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.
And thank you for watching. As always, see you next week.
See ya.
Bye-bye.